the Feast of Nations. Now, this is an activity that the Multicultural Club does, I think, about every year. And so what we say is, hey, come to the Feast of Nations, you can get free food. Here's a meal, Feast of Nations. That sounds pretty good, Sounds like lots of different multicultural food from the Multicultural Club. But, I mean, it's kind of a deception. What happens is, what we do is when the people come, we have a commons room at the Ridgewater campus, and if we don't let them enter the commons room, usually where they think they're going to eat. We don't let them enter right away, and we give them tickets. And each ticket has a colored bar on the top of the ticket. And there's 3 different colors, and if you get one color, you get brought in first into the commons, and you get to sit at a real fancy table. You get waiters, waitresses that serve you. You get kind of like gourmet food. If you get another color, then you sit at like a rectangular long table, and you get plain noodles with some, I think, salt and pepper and water. And that's what you have to eat. And then if you get the third color, then they put you on a taped off square and set you on the floor, and you have to wait before you can go get food. So the people, they wait for the food, and they're watching everyone else eat, and they're sitting there waiting, and then it says after a certain amount of minutes they can go find food. Well, it just says go find food. Well, where's this food? So there's a trail that's marked by tape, and they have to go to like the other end of the school to a room that's trashed, no lights on, and there's bread in the corner and dirty water. And I'm in that room, and I have to kind of treat them with disrespect and make it a stressful situation, because what this is trying to do is replicate the current situation the world is in when it comes to food. Now, the people who sat at the first table, who had the gourmet food and the nice dinner and the waitresses and stuff, represent the richest countries in the world, where food isn't an issue. You can run, it's not a problem. Everybody can get the best kind of food, all rich, and America would fall into that category. The second table is kind of the countries that are becoming industrialized countries. The what do they call it? The developing countries, those kind of range. And then the third group, which was the largest group, which had to sit on the floor, that constitutes about 50% of the world, and that's like the poverty-stricken countries, where getting food is not always something that's guaranteed, and it's extremely difficult to get food. And so this is supposed to represent how the world actually is. Of course, at the end, everybody got free food afterwards, but it was just to kind of show them, to wake them up. So we had a professor of sociology come give a talk, and then we had a lady who's part of the local food shelf come give a talk and talk about how locally there are poverty-stricken people who have a hard time getting food for their family. So, and again, here's a presentation from the Multicultural Club to bring awareness about the world situation. There's a lot of cultures, a lot of countries where getting food is very difficult. We have it so easy, like here in America and a lot of the more industrialized, richer countries, and we don't sometimes realize the difficulties that some people go through in other countries, and so we misunderstand their culture and way of life because we just assume that it's like our own. But a lot of the country is very poverty-stricken and has a really hard time getting food. I think there's a statistic that says if you have a fridge, a bed, and a roof over your head, you're richer than 75% of the world. 75%. I mean, that's a lot. So we're just trying to kind of bring awareness to the issue. So I filmed some of it, and I hope you can enjoy and possibly learn something.
Alright, so here's the thing. I want you to be as respectful as possible, okay? Stay in there. Please do not leave the blue area. And I'm going to give you something here. You cannot share with anybody. Okay? Okay? Okay. So, suppose troublemaker, you can start. Choose one. Whichever one you like. How's that experience?
Food is in the corner. We have some dirty water there. More people?
Is there food?
Your food is in the corner. You gotta hurry up, get it, and get out. Don't take that much because you gotta save some for the other people who come in here all the time.
Okay.
You don't want none?
No.
You sure?
Yes.
There's some water.
No.
Oh, come on. It's perfectly good food. How many people are we gonna get? People just keep coming in here like it's free food. More people? What do you want? Food?
Sure.
Everybody wants food. There's bread over there. No, it's not funny. This is freaking annoying. Everybody's always coming in here. Take a little bit, because it has to go around for everybody. You know how many people I get in here today? Too many. Bet you're thirsty too, huh?
No, I'm good.
There's some water.
There's some water.
Don't
Okay.
take too much. Gotta go for everybody.
Alright.
Jeez. All you people want is food.
Thank you.
You gonna drink all that? All for yourself? People nowadays. More people.
Yeah.
What do you want?
Food.
Come to ruin my day? Food?
Food.
Everybody wants food. Everybody comes here. They want food. You know how many people come here today?
A lot.
Too many.
Sorry, I'm hungry.
Well, you better go find it. Don't take too much. It's gotta go around for everybody. Suppose you're thirsty too, huh?
No.
No?
Oh, just bread.
There's water.
That's fine. I'm just here for the bread.
Really? You gotta get back to your square.
I'm going. Thank you.
Yeah.
A meal that was provided for them, and it was a meal that had choice and more than they needed. And in the context of an industrialized world, that top 15%, that lifestyle is commonplace, where there's easy access to food, access to health care. For many of you in this top 15%, life is an insured education for your children. And even without the means to pay for health care, in emergency scenarios, there would be resources available for you if you needed it. For many of you in the 15%, while unemployment and lack of resources are a reality, we do have safety nets that are there in times of strife. That we have, for example, food shelves, other distribution centers that can meet your needs if you're in that 15%. To be honest, most of the world isn't there, where the full-time income, access to health, access to food is not readily available, even cheap food. Moving on, let's look at the 35% of the world. Look at you sitting in the chairs over there. You're individuals that, like the individuals here, have access to food, but your access is tentative. What is it related to? Your access is related to whether you have a good crop. Your access is related to whether you can keep your job. See, for many of you, you have a job, but not necessarily a career per se. What I mean is there are places where you can earn income. There are factories and other facilities. You're probably living in an industrializing nation, meaning one with a large level of manufacturing and other work that might have been outsourced from the most developed nations, folks in this category. And what that really means is you're very vulnerable. You're vulnerable to crop yields. You're vulnerable to having work. For many of you, you could be your range. I forgot to give the number distributions here. People are earning an average income of $12,000 or more a year. You're earning between $12,000 a year and $900. So you can probably already imagine that's quite a range. And for some of you, the minimum wage is, you'd be making like $2, $3 a day. As you already know, a large portion of the world, half make $2 a day. And here's something that even is not over. 80% of the world makes less than $10 a day. So that's you in this category. You have limited access to food. You have children that may go to school. Well, your boys would probably go to school. But you have a scenario where food is always going to be an iffy situation. But it's there when times are good. So, those of you that are around the blue line, you are what we consider the other half of the world. You're the half where hunger is a pervasive issue. You're the half where salaries are either non-existent or very small. Because we're talking about a national income annually per capita of about $900 or less. $900 or less dollars when food costs are at its highest significantly impacts families. And for most of you, education is not a reality at all. For many of you, particularly women, the feminization of poverty around the world, it has become, the lack of educational resources become even more pronounced. In the least industrialized nations, again, those of you around here, getting food for you isn't necessarily going to be a situation where it's handed to you or within driving distance. It's not a situation where you have in tons of good resources. For most of you, food will be gotten in a situation of chaos, under duress, with hardship. The recreation of that, whether it worked or not, was the fact that you getting food is never a comfortable reality. It takes effort. It's confusing. It's something that doesn't always work out. I've had many friends of mine work with relief organizations that say, for many people, the long journey to go get access to food distribution is a scary one. You know, if there's one thing around the world that is a big myth, and I like to share this in my classes, it's that there's not enough to go around. You see, there's plenty of food for you. There's plenty, as evidenced by the surplus that was enjoyed by this table. But the point is that the access is the problem, not the amount of food we have. How do we get food as a globe to you? And as you saw, you had to cite all kinds of social situations, the time limits and other things that were imposed upon you. You would defy chaos and stress because the room was supposed to create a stressful environment. I've had, again, friends of mine in relief organizations that say people don't realize the stress that has to go on with food procurement around the world. And so to that end, your experience hopefully creates an understanding that getting access to food isn't simple for lots of people. Now maybe you already knew that, but again, for me, and I'm this kind of person, I have to experience these types of things. I have to understand myself that getting food isn't something that is just about access. Now, what I think we're going to do is I think we've talked about, we've experienced it rather, we've experienced how the world is. And the conclusion is, it's not a fair situation. And the reality is, people in your group are really chosen at random, aren't they? It has nothing to do with what you did or did not do. Your status is ascribed by birth, per se. Where you're born, community you live in, and nothing really to do with your desire or lack thereof to gain access. And so, understanding that should motivate us to action, to learn more. I think that for many of you, either you're already thinking about this, or this is part of your journey, or this should be a springboard to start maybe more questions about how the world is. Now, I think Adele, if I'm right, we're going to have food available for everybody.
Yeah, a couple of things just for the record. I am not that mean, guys. I was just
You like ordered really well.
Yes.
And with that, before everybody obviously will have access to the same meal that these guys have, I do want to ask, what was your impression? What was your first reaction? And I'll start in this case from the bottom. What were you guys thinking? I knew you were going to kill me, but what else?
I wasn't surprised when you made us stand in the box. Shocked.
Now, all of you were given a piece of paper. Would you be willing to share what it said on the paper?
I said I had to wait 17 minutes before I could go one.
Because it said,
17 minutes when I waited.
oh, you didn't read it?
Not the whole.
What his paper said was, because you just got out of jail,
Oh, yeah.
and of course you don't have a job, now you have to wait 17 minutes before you can go in. So what did yours say?
You're filling out a credit card application. You have to wait 5 minutes.
All right.
Or you just, bank account broke down.
I didn't have a job, so I didn't
Wait 15 minutes. I guess you have to, are forced to apply for welfare.
I need something to do. I couldn't find a babysitter or something, so I waited 18 minutes.
Now, can you please share with the rest of the group, what did you find when you went down there?
Bread.
Trash room.
Okay. Was it easy to find? Did you feel comfortable?
No.
How did you feel being in that situation? Angry? Okay.
I was just happy with bread.
Happy to have bread? You guys get anything to drink?
Dirty water.
Dirty water, right? Did you have ice? Pretty much like their water, not ice. But yours was brown, correct? And you got a piece of bread. You got a piece of bread over there. That's slice, right? How did the person that gave you the food treat you? With respect?
I'm annoyed by how many people were showing up.
Like, what were some of the comments that he made?
Everybody wants to notice how many people keep bugging me for food.
How did that make you feel? What went through your mind guys, when you saw the other two tickets?
I got hungry. I just got hungry.
Okay, anyone else?
The food didn't, well, I knew what happened at least, but it wasn't the food that I picked up on at all. It was more the social interaction and the desire to solve something or do something and not knowing how to get it.
You had your hands were tied because you were inside the box, right? Okay. Well, thank you. I won't have you guys wait any longer. Please go get some food. I'm going to chat with the other
Can we
groups.
sit down?
Please, by all means. How about you guys? What did you think? How did you feel, first of all?
I meant to this. So I was surprised that I'm like, what do you so it's different.
Okay, go ahead.
So it was just different me over here.
Where were you before?
I was in the box last time.
So you logged out this time. What about you?
Well, I kept on looking over there like, oh wow, it's really good. But I felt sorry for those people.
Okay. No, I wasn't kind of.
I was telling crying over there.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm glad you were there. What did you think? Sure was not mean to them. Was I mean to you guys at all? So why didn't you?
What would you have done if it said, is it okay for us to share? Here, I forgot that happened.
2 years ago, that group, one of their members got up and brought food to you guys. And I didn't let that happen. I actually did throw it away. But
What makes you an authority? Why?
for this exercise, you can call me the government, you can call me the system, you can call me whatever you want. I am just representing whatever you don't believe in. Just for this exercise, right? And again, I want to clarify, I'm not that mean. Hopefully you guys know. So, you know, I did notice, though, that these guys, they ate. You know, they kind of didn't try to make much of an eye contact with you guys, and they enjoyed themselves. So being in that position, in that situation of power, if you will, gave them something extra that didn't allow them to share with you, right? They could have, if they wanted to, but they chose not to, right? So I'm going to let Dr. Ferguson finish up with what he's got. And please make sure that there's enough food out there, guys. Please eat. The last thing I want you to do is to leave here hungry. We're trying to be hungry, right? Just let them go.
I'm just going to be brief. Just going to be brief really quick. And I'm going to pass it over to Marietta. I just wanted to, I think it's one thing to experience this, but it's another thing quite entirely to then take it to the next level. As we discussed, what does it take to be someone that, yes, you you are in a situation to help and you don't, how do you empower people? How do you get people to a place where they feel they can help? Well, one, I think, is really to provide avenues, first thing, provide a sense that you can do something. And I think that it becomes cliche, we say that all the time, you can do something, but I think that people may not believe that. And I do want to stress that people are doing things now. So I don't think it's something that's a theory or might be. You, college students, individuals within the community can do something. First thing I like to tell people is to get informed, and the power of the internet has provided you lots of resources. So whether or not you check these resources out isn't the focus, but I do want to provide some resources. The Get Informed piece, if you're looking at the sheet that I handed out, is all about resources to provide you a little bit of a forecast of where we are with food and resources. Like the International Food Research Institute does the Global Hunger Index. If you're doing research for classes, this is an excellent resource for you to get literally the climate of food access. And let me tell you right now, it's not good. And I recommend going to that website. Number two, the UN, the Food and Agriculture Organization, is a resource for you to look at the various food costs and what's going on today with access. Number three is a quite interesting site. I just want to recommend going to Corp Watch. Is a nonprofit organization that investigates corporation behavior. And make no mistake, large organizations, governments, businesses have a lot to do with food and access. And you'll find some surprising things about food and how corporate entities have affected the way the world eats. You know, my students are surprised, for example, to find out that Coca-Cola, who many of my students love very much, was responsible for selling dirty drinking water to Indian people. They said, well, Coca-Cola can't do that. He said, absolutely. And it was because individuals like yourself found out about what corporations do. Not that corporations can't be good global citizens, because indeed they can be, but when we hold them accountable to how they affect the world market, with fair trade, etc. So moving beyond information is starting to get you involved. I have talked about partnering. Oxfam, and Oxfam is a group of organizations involved in social justice. Their website has a lot of ways that you can get involved as college students, community members. Everything from organizing their own campaigns to providing awareness seminars. They have even the Skip a Meal program that you can be involved in, and forming online Facebook kind of entities. The list goes on. Go to actfast.oxfam, and some of the stuff they've done is what inspired this presentation today. Action Against Hunger is another excellent organization that uses community members, college students like yourself, to partner with them, learn what they're doing, and a lot of campaigns there. Kiva, one of the things we recognize is providing resources to local community members and farmers is another avenue. And I would recommend check this website out. Now, a lot of websites to go to, but in our day of the age of the internet, it's useful websites. But let me skip all that and just end with this. The best way, I think, for you to physically get involved is right here in your own community. And not only connecting with the Feeding America Network, but our own community food shelves. And today, I'm going to step out here and there you are from the Cloud Area Food Shelf to talk about what's going on in our communities. Because let me tell you, in Minnesota, we have a real issue with food, particularly in our rural communities, where people are literally missing meals every day. And it's something that's not happening just abroad, it's happening right in our community to our friends and neighbors. With that, I'll turn it over to